All right. So let's see. Let's open up the solution in the browser again. Just to refresh our memory on what it is we were trying to achieve. What we want is that we can select some numbers on the front end. So right now I'm entering the very first number, and then I can add an operator plus. Now I'm going to enter the second number, and then I would press equals for a result. It prints out the result. Doesn't allow me to click any other numbers, any other operators, and then I can click clear if I want to start all over again. The way we're able to tackle this is that you need to have some global variables to kind of like keep track of the state of your calculator. You need to keep track of the state of the first number, you need to keep track of the state of the second number, and you also need to keep track of the state of the operator. You can also keep track of the results. This is optional, but then you're also going to need help of Boolean variables to help figure out your if-else conditionals, because you're going to have different flows going on in your calculator. You have one flow for setting the first number. You have a second flow for setting the operator. You have a third flow for setting the second number, and potentially a fourth one for the result. So in this case, they decided to go the route of having an initialization function called initialize calculator. Inside that initialize calculator step, they're just setting first number, second number operator to all empty strings, and they're setting all the Boolean cases to false. This is going to be the first step, an initialize step. You could also think of this as the step that gets called when you click clear. This is starting the game from the beginning again. If I refresh the page, this is exactly what it's going to do. It's going to reinitialize everything. So we're saying for first number, second number, operator, and result divs, just empty them, start from scratch. Now, the very first step you should have tried to tackle was getting the individual numbers for the first number into the first number div. When you inspect it, you'll see that the first number header now has a text value of 123. The way we were able to do this is by saying select all of the number buttons on the screen. Don't forget we're using a class name over here. This is going to be the class name of all of the button numbers. You'll notice button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they all have this class name called number. You'll notice that the operators, button plus, button minus, have an operator class name. So you can assign separate on-click events for those individual buttons. So then, what we want for all the numbers, they're going to do the same logic, all of them, which is 1, check to see if this has already been calculated. That's going to be, have I already clicked the equals button? This is now the calculated state. That means if it's already been calculated, just return false. Don't do anything. So when I click the numbers again, as you can see, nothing is happening after the calculation has been done. So that's what this step is doing. Second step, if it hasn't been calculated and calculated is equal to false, it won't go into this if case. It'll hit this next case and say, has the operation been chosen? If the operation has been chosen, we can see from the flow over here that if an operation is chosen, then the next number to be set is the second number. That means we're assuming the first number has already been set. So we're saying if operation is chosen, then do some logic. But we know operation has not been chosen in the first case, so we have an else condition that says just set that first number to whatever is the button that's been selected. So we're going to use a $, open and close parentheses for the this object. That's jQuery. That's some jQuery to say select this object and use the val function to get the value. Keep in mind this could also be written as attribute value. It's just a shortcut. You could choose either way. They all mean the same thing. So we're just going to select that value, and the reason we're using plus equals is because in this particular situation, first number is a string, And that's how we're able to get all of these numbers over here. We're not going to add 1 plus 2 plus 3. We need them to be represented as strings on the front end so we can have multiple numbers. So when I refresh the page, we can have 4, 5, 6. This is a string. This isn't 4 plus 5 plus 6. So just keep in mind that could have been a bug that you might have encountered. Then we want to say that the first number header, we're going to use the jQuery selector to get that first number header by its ID. We're going to inject the text to be the value of the first number. Then for the operators, we're going to have a separate onClick event that says, in that very first if case scenario, if the first number hasn't been selected, or if is calculated is already true, then just do nothing. We don't want the operation to be set if the first number isn't set. So I can't just come in here and press minus or X or multiplication or add because the first number hasn't been selected yet. This is how you're using backend variables to force a state of the calculator. You want the users to go through a very clearly defined route. So then for the operator, let's go back to that again. We're going to say, is the operator chosen? We can set true because we're assuming first number has already been set and calculated is not true. Then we grab the value of the operator and then we throw that on the screen. We're going to say this operator button that's been selected, inject that into the operator header. Then we have a third case for the equals. So now we're at the point where we have 1 plus. So first number has been set, operator has been set. That means when it comes to these numbers over here, first number has been set, operator has been set, is operator chosen is now equal to true in this very specific scenario we're in right now. Then we're going to have the second number. The second number is going to hit this onClick event. And let me actually throw that. Let's add a breakpoint there. How do I move this? Let's move this to the side. All right, that's easier. All right, so now we're going to set the second number. If I set that's to 3, you're going to see it's going to hit the onClick event for number. It's going to check to see is calculated. Is calculated is still false because we haven't selected equals yet. It's going to skip this if case. It's going to see is the operation chosen. Yes, it's been chosen. It's true. Then we're going to go into that if case. It's going to set the second number to be the value of the button that was selected, and then it's going to present it to the screen. And then it's just going to be done. So now we have 1 plus 3. When I press 2, it's going to come back to this number onClick event because, as you remember, we set this onClick event to all the number buttons. So it's always going to hit this function. It's going to come in here. Has it been calculated yet? False. Step over. Is the operator chosen? True. So now it's going to assume we want to add another number to the second number. So it's going to do plus equals this value, which is a string value. Second number is now equal to 32, and it's going to inject that into the header. Now we have 32. Next, we're going to hit the equals function over here. It's going to come in here. It's going to see is the calculated state true? It's not true because we haven't calculated this yet. It's still false. It's going to skip this. It's going to check this. It's going to set is calculated to true because now we're going to do the logic that does the operation work. So we're going to skip over this because now is calculated is equal to true. We're going to grab the first number. We're going to grab the second number, and we're going to use parse int to turn that string into an integer. So now we have an integer version of first number. We have an integer version of second number. And now it's operation time. Is the operator equal to plus? Is the operator equal to minus? Is it equal to times, divide, power? We're going to have all these if cases for the operator. And now it's just basic math. So then we're going to have our result. It was plus, so first number plus the second number, integer. The result is going to be 33. And we just inject the result text to the header. That's it. Now remember, now our state for operator chosen is true. Our state for is calculated is true. So when we go back and click another number, it's still going to hit this function, but we want to make sure it no longer does any more work. So we're just going to return false. And nothing happens. It's not going to move on to the next line because there's nothing for it to do. It's already calculated. Is calculated is equal to true. What else? And then we want to go and clear it. So we hit the clear functionality. And all clear does, it goes and calls the initialize calculator function. And as we saw earlier, the initialize calculator function just turns everything back to what they were in the beginning. First number is going to be an empty string. Second number is going to be an empty string. Operator, which was plus, is now an empty string. Is the operator chosen, which was true, now to false, along with is calculated, which was true, is now equal to false. And now we need to clear this screen over here. It grabs all of the header tags by their individual IDs, and it does .empty. And now they're gone. Questions on the solution and why we took this route? No questions? All right. Well, if you haven't completed this exercise, definitely use the solution as a reference. Complete the exercise at home. It's really important to understand the different flows that you can create within the calculator using if-else conditionals and global variables to save the state. But if you don't have any questions, class is over. Yeah, that's it.